What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far. Talking baseball, 8-game early slate. DC, Mangone, myself, breaking it all down. DC, throw it to you first, man. How's it going? How's your Wednesday morning treating you? How was yesterday in baseball? What's up today?
Yeah, yesterday was pretty solid. Things are good. And as always, happy to have full day baseball to talk about. Of course, NBA playoffs tonight, so a very fun day of sports. Mangone been on fire in the NBA playoff streets over there. You love to see it. Of course, a lot of winners over at the RPS crew as well. So, yeah, fun day of baseball, fun day of sports ahead, and happy to be here breaking it down with you two guys.
Yeah, NBA playoffs, always a lot of fun. Mangone's been on fire. The opposite of my Bucks, man. They got to find a way to get by this series without Giannis, or at least today, it sounds like. But some good NBA games on tap. Baseball early, basketball late. You love to see that. Mangone, you've absolutely been on a heater, man. Congrats to you. We talked a little bit to yesterday about it, but playoffs have been treating you well. Celtics are doing well. Life has to be good in your world.
Yeah, things are rolling. When things are going well too, you want everything just to stay the same. No crazy changes. I haven't been as deep in the baseball streets, but we're back at it today. I like that it's split up. I don't feel like I have to do two locks and juggle everything. So excited to talk some day baseball with you guys. Obviously, get some takes, see if DC's got some good pitching info because I pulled up pitching and listen, it's not one of those I just say, oh well, Garrett Cole's on the mound against this absolute crap team today. So. Excited to kind of break it all down, talk with you guys about it. And yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the NBA streets. Hopefully it can continue. AP had a great hit in the NBA streets. I feel like we're pretty dialed in there in the NBA chat as well. I had a strong lean on Bogdanovich getting more run yesterday, and it worked out well. So hopefully we can keep finding some winners for you guys in the NBA streets tonight. But let's start with MLB today. Let's keep this heater going and roll it into MLB.
You bet. So we got 8 games today, like I mentioned. No weather. Weather looks all fine, and not too many lineups out, actually. Usually we have a lot more lineups out. They'll start trickling in. We'll have core plays, Discord, all of that as always. But yeah, pitching doesn't look too concentrated, DC. Lately, I feel like it's been like DeGrom's 2K underpriced. Everyone's playing him, Scherzer, whatever it may be. I think pitching kind of gets spread out today. How do you want to tackle this? Do you just want to go your full list? Do you want to go 8K and above, 8K and below? What are your thoughts, DC, how we handle this 8-game slate at pitching?
Yeah, we can start, I think, 8K and above. And I mean, I think Mangone nailed it. U2 title. It's pretty thin out there for pitching. I mean, even, the clear ace on the slate, I think, Max Scherzer hasn't been all that great, honestly, to start the year. Did pitch really well in his last start against San Diego. I do expect him to be, mostly his normal self going forward. But getting up there in years a little bit, and I think losing just a little bit, kind of off the fastball a little bit. So, and in the matchup, right? I think the Dodgers are probably going to roll 5-6 lefties out there at the top of the lineup against him, which he's not quite as effective against. A good lineup overall, and he's expensive, 10.8K for Max Scherzer on a slate where there's enough value, of course, at hitting on an 8-game slate. There always is. There's also some really, really good expensive bats, namely the Cardinals' power righties against Madison Bumgarner, which to me are kind of the priority of the slate. So if you're trying to get those guys in, it's tough to get the pitching in, the top-end pitching. So I do like Scherzer if you can afford him, if you're on a cheap stack. I do think he's a good way to go. But, man, it gets thin beyond Scherzer. Taijuan Walker at 9,900, that's just – I don't know why he's priced up with the Aces right now. That's a no-go for me. Same thing with Lauer. Morton at 8,800 against the Padres. I don't love it. I am seeing Rogers here. Trevor Rogers looks like he could perhaps come in as one of the highest-owned pitchers on the slate, which I don't really like that against this Giants team. I mean, they've got a ton of right-handed power that's kind of crushing right now that I think actually could get to Trevor Rogers. I kind of actually like the San Francisco stack is kind of a true contrarian. And Cal Quantrill, right? I mean, the way pitching has been going this year, it has been, profitable, I think, to kind of just pick on these horrible offenses. Detroit, Oakland are two of them. They're both on this slate. So I guess you could do Quantrill, but man, he's not a good DFS pitcher. Not really a good pitcher in general at 8,300. And then Marco Gonzalez, no thanks there at 8,100. So that's the entire list of 8K and above. Really, Scherzer, the only guy that I can make a kind of a strong case for. I don't like the rest of this range. It does seem like a slate. Oh, I did forget one guy. He's in my lineup. This is why I overlooked him, Justin Steele, who I do prefer kind of as my SB1 today. So that's why he wasn't on the list because he's already in my lineup. So yeah, Steele 9,700, been really good so far. Gets the Oakland A's. It is the daytime A's, which they can hit a little bit, but I think this is the best matchup on the slate. One of the better parks to pitch in. Steele's been really good, and yeah, I would take him even over Max Scherzer. So yeah, Steele the SB1 for me. If I was spending up on two guys, it would be Steele and Scherzer over Steele and Trevor Rogers, which I think some people will go to. But yeah, that's kind of the 8K and up range for me. Again, not the best options today in that upper tier.
Yeah, I do like, though, and DeGrom's not 80% or one pitcher's not 80% in a single entry, and then everyone's playing which SP2 to go to. And lately it's been like Corbin Burns, everyone's plugging in, and not really too many other options. We do have multiple options below 8K too. I think some people will go to. But Mangone, I'll go to you 8K and above. I think Rodgers gets a lot of ownership. Justin Steele gets some. Scherzer at that 10-8 price tag. And DC mentioned there are bats you want to pay for. He's not going to be like low owned by any means, but it'll be a little overlooked compared to the Steels of the world, the Rodgers, and people below 8K. So are you going to get to Scherzer as a little contrarian spend? You're going to pay up for bats. What are you doing 8K and above?
Yeah, DC, imagine wanting to spend down a pitcher when we have value plays like Brent Rooker against a lefty. I mean, it's just I'm totally kidding. But the one point that you brought up, DC, that I thought was interesting is like, and this just gives you the whole slate breakdown of why pitching is not great today. Like Justin Steele is your favorite SP, and for good reason. Matchups great and everything, but Title says it all the time. Like, I'm weather first, right? That's what you prioritize. Well, isn't the wind blowing out in Chicago? Again, I'm not saying Justin Steele's not a bad play, but my point is you can pick holes in every single pitcher today. There's some kind of blemish in every single one as you kind of go through them all. Max Scherzer will start with the matchup. That's obviously one of the issues that you're going to run into. If you have the salary, great. I'm not going to prioritize it. I'll start there. Taijuan Walker against the White Sox. You could make an argument that this White Sox lineup is not that strong today, but I don't need to play Taijuan Walker. There's other guys that I would prefer. His projection is not that great. So, yeah. Justin Steele is probably the best SP. If you had to pick, like, optimal guys, he's going to be the one. But the point to be made on him is, like, do you really need to, like, this is a strategy I've kind of done, and I do it in NBA too a bit. Do I really need to have 100% Justin Steele on this slate? Or can I just get overweight, right? Like if everyone's got 30% or whatever the number's going to be, maybe it's 50%. Can I just get to 70? Like, do I need to have 100%? This is a slate where I would rather try to find ways to get overweight on some random options. I would be setting caps on my pitchers today. I think that's a very important thing to do. I just don't want to have 100% of a pitcher just because everything's crap and one guy's just projected better than the other. I think it makes sense to get some exposure to some other options. So that's kind of my takeaway on that. Eric Lauer is an interesting one because I am not excited to target the Seattle Mariners, but Eric Lauer does have a nice ceiling. Well, at least say that. If you get a top performance from him, it can easily be a very huge number. I mean, if he put up 25 to 30 DK points, that wouldn't totally shock me. It'd shock me if some of these other pitchers did it, but not him, because we know what the ceiling is for him. But the downside could be rough against a team like Seattle. So yeah, overall, I think that those are some of the guys that we're looking at here. Charlie Morton's another one I want to call out. Charlie Morton is 8-8, and he's been talented. I don't know if you have any takes on Morton, DC. I don't want to target the Padres, like trust me, but there's a lot of blemishes in all these guys. You can make the case that Charlie Morton is an interesting option. Another guy that's getting pounded, on teams a ton is Trevor Rogers. And I'm with you, DC. Why are we targeting the Giants? Is it because of the ballpark? I think that's more so the reason. It's just the ballpark that he's in that kind of helps him out. And just there's a lot of different tough spots. Cal Quantrill, are we excited about him against the Tigers? No, I've never been racing to play Cal Quantrill. I remember last year at one point, Cal Quantrill was like, I think he was like 30% owned on a slate. And I was like, I'm not playing a chalk Cal Quantrill. I know it's not chalk here, but point being is this guy sucks. He's not that good. So not that interested in him. And then Marco Gonzalez, like, again, what's his upside, right? Like it's not that high. So it's definitely rough here above 8K for some of these options. If I had to rank them, my lean is probably Steele 1, Rogers 2, The guy I'm considering taking a chance on that maybe others aren't is either Lauer or Morton. I don't know which one yet, but it's brutal to pick between. Like, do I pick between the Padres or Seattle? And I obviously know that it feels like Eric Lauer's floor is way worse than Charlie Morton's. I'll say that. Maybe DC has some Lauer and Morton takes based on some early season data that he's looked at that can help me out.
DC, do you have any Whoa, I don't know what that happened there. Do you have any Lauer and Morton takes? And then let's go talk a little bit about the below 8K range, because the pitchers, someone mentioned Brady Singer in chat. I think he is interesting at 7.1K. Texas has been hitting the ball pretty well, though. I think he can get some ownership. And then Alex Cobb, wouldn't be surprised to see him get some ownership as well at 7.7K. So talk about those two. Talk about Lauer, Morton, anything you like below 8K.
Yeah, I would go Morton over Lauer, but I don't love the price tag, honestly, for either guy. Morton hasn't looked super sharp to me to start the year. And, you don't love targeting the Padres. This is a pretty decent lineup. Not quite full strength yet to actually get Fernando Tatis back tomorrow, which will be fun. But, yeah, Morton's okay. I mean, Lauer, I don't love him as a pitcher, and that Seattle lineup, pretty right-handed heavy. So yeah, if I was going in that range, it would be Morton over Lauer. But again, I don't love either guy. Once we get below 8K, Alex Cobb, I think, is my preferred option. I think he's the safest guy at 7,700. Marlins been another one of those teams that has struggled this year in general. They do have some guys hitting, Luis Arias, Jorge Soler getting it done, and Cobb, like, he's not some world beater by any means, but like Mangone said, I mean, any pitcher you go to today, you're not going to feel that comfortable, right? Like, even Justin Steele, my favorite pitcher on this slate, like $9,700 Justin Steele is not like some total slam dunk. I mean, you know what I mean? He's not that great of a pitcher. So even though the matchup's good, you're paying for it with the price. Cobb, I do like. That's my preferred combination. I think that'll be the two I use on my main team. That's Steele, Alex Cobb. But I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be that shocked if neither guy worked out. It does seem like a day where you're kind of trying to get away with pitching, right? Not get hurt with your pitchers and win it with your bats. It does seem like this kind of slate. So, yeah, I do like Cobb. Other guys I'm at least considering. Mike Clevenger, I think, has strikeout upside against the Phillies at 7,900. Again, a very non-safe option. Singer, I get, but I don't love it. And the weather in Kansas City and St. Louis both, it's like 80 degrees, humid, and 20-mile-per-hour winds out to left field. Not really weather that I want to go attack, use pitchers in. I mean, ball's going to be absolutely flying in both places. So probably going to stay away from Singer, for no other reason. I wouldn't love him anyway, but especially with that weather, I don't think I'm going to end up going there. The one guy I'm considering using, and this lets you know what kind of slate it really is going to Coors Field for a pitcher, which is never comfortable. But Johan Oviedo for the Pirates has looked really, really good in his last two starts against the White Sox and the Cardinals. 5 strikeouts, no walks against the White Sox, 10 Ks to 1 walk, throwing 97, 98 mile-per-hour fastballs, up to, I think, nearly 100 pitches in his last start. Got up to, 94, 89, and 93 in his last 3 starts, so they will let him go deep into the games. He got through 7 innings in that start against the Cardinals. Supposed to get colder here in Colorado throughout the day, and 13-mile-per-hour winds in from center field, 55 degrees or so in Coors Field, so it won't be playing necessarily like the kind of the Coors we know and love when it's hot here in the summer and it's just impossible to pitch. I think today, if you throw well and execute, you got a chance to pitch well. And this Rockies lineup is pretty bad. It's obviously still Coors Field, and they are obviously much better at home. But Oviedo at 6,900 on a slate where pitching's brutal, and I don't necessarily want to be on the chalk when I don't trust any of the pitchers in general, right? That's kind of a slate where you want to get away from the chalk. Like, sure, it's, I don't mind eating Spencer Strider chalk yesterday because he's clearly the SP1. I have confidence he's going to deliver. He did. This slate, I don't know if I want to be riding with everybody else at starting pitcher, especially when I'm trying to get, some obviously popular bats, like the Cardinals bats. They're the priority for me. So Oviedo, 6,900. I'm seeing him, I think, below 5% ownership. Obviously, it's Coors Field. It could go south. but I think he's at least got a chance to put up 20-plus fantasy points, which on this slate at that price point, you would sign up for that obviously all day long. So obviously wouldn't do it in cash games, anything like that. But for big field tournaments, yeah, Oviedo, it's probably a guy I'll end up talking myself into at least by the time the slate locks here, just because, like I said, I don't really want to be on the chalk pitchers today. So he is my favorite. I wish this Mason Miller guy pitching for Oakland looks like he's going to be just an absolute stud, just mowing everybody down in the minor leagues, throwing 100 miles per hour. I've seen some of his stuff ratings. So, if you want to get, I don't know if anyone's on weird sites or prize picks or props or whatever, Mason Miller is a guy that I think is going to be just fantastic. Spencer Strider-esque is what I would kind of compare him to, but not available on the slate on either DraftKings or FanDuel, unfortunately. He would be the guy I would play at literally any price today, but can't do it. I did just want to at least mention him, though.
Dang, that's hurtful. You got me a little excited there. It would have been a perfect slate for it. I mean, not like you said, nothing feels comfortable.
And they announced it yesterday, too, so I thought they would add him, and I woke up all excited. First thing I did, check my phone, Mason Miller in the player pool. No, sir. So he's going to throw a gem now because we would have bet on him. So I'll probably bet on the A's. That'll be fun.
One last pitcher for you. I assume not much interest, but Martin Perez. A couple people in chat are talking about. You mentioned the weather in KC, a reason against Singer as well. So I assume no Perez, but multiple people asked about him. So I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, if this was in the the cavernous stadium in Texas with the roof closed, I would probably play Perez, but I don't love him here, and I actually like some of those cheap right-handed power for Kansas City. So, I'm not super high on Perez either. I'll go with my man Oviedo over Perez there.
I like it. Mangone, 8K and below. What you got for us, that pitcher?
Yeah, actually, I like Martin Perez. So I don't know. Maybe I should reconsider the weather a bit, but I'll just say this with Martin Perez. The guy has been doing this for it feels like 2 years now. He just keeps proving us wrong every single time. DC, the point that you brought up with with this pitching slate, not Martin Perez, but this is the counterpoint is you just said we have to get by. I mean, the guy is probably just going to get you double digits and you move on. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't get me the 30 or 25 today, but I just feel like he won't kill my lineups today. So I think I'm in on him. I like the Oviedo call. I think one point to bring up that I think you kind of mentioned without saying it is, well, he throws a fastball, right? And the fastballs don't move as much in Coors, right? It's all the movement pitches that you get concerned about. The dude just throwing gas right by him. It doesn't matter. So I think Oviedo, I like that call more than I thought I was coming into the show. I've also been fading Coors in tournaments pretty much every time whenever I'm on the slate. So I do my best to exit out. The one thing I'll do is sometimes I'll keep it as mini stacks or I'll keep it as one-offs. That's it. Just because, hey, if I'm already playing like a 5% owned stack, why can't I eat like a chalk CJ Cron that hits 2 home runs or something like that? So I think it's perfectly fine to play him as mini stacks or as the one-offs, but I'm not going to do it as a 5-man stack. There's no interest in that. So I do think Oviedo will be someone that I consider a little bit for sure. But I like Martin Perez. I think that's one of the cheap guys I don't mind that not a lot of people are going to go to. I agree on the Alex Cobb thing. One thing you could do too is play Rogers and play Cobb and hope for the pitcher's duel in Miami, right? Sometimes the game just gets going and the pitchers just keep throwing heat out there and they keep just mowing along, right? We've seen it at times where and if that's the case with this new pitch clock, this game could be over in like 2 hours. So I do think it's definitely an interesting spot for Alex Cobb. So he'll be someone else that I'm on. I considered the Brady Singer thing, but my only worry with Brady Singer is he has definitely not looked incredible to start this year out. It's definitely not a lineup I'm scared of. Like, we're not scared of this Texas lineup that much. It's fine. Obviously, Marcus Semien, good play. But when you got guys like Travis Jankowski up towards the top, right? I mean, that's never a lineup to be feared. So I think you could get away with Brady Singer, but not someone I'm dying to get to. He's kind of like one of those like last guys in when I'm kind of building out the pitching pool. I'm like, okay, Brady Singer can kind of make the cut. But I think for me, if I had to rank, if it's Cobb number 1, it's Perez 2, and then it's Brady Singer 3 for the guys below 8K. And then the 4th would be Oviedo for sure. And you don't need that much, right? I mean, no one's going to have him. He's going to be like, I don't know, like 2%. So it doesn't take much to get overweight in tournaments.
But Anthony G in chat telling me to move it along. I apologize, sir, for talking about baseball on a baseball show. My bad, sir. I'll try to do better in the future.
What are we moving it along to, DC? Are we talking about UFC? Because I'm out on that conversation. I'll tell you that.
Clown shoe, get out of here.
I'm surprised he even looked at chat. That's why DC never even has YouTube up. He doesn't want to see. He doesn't want to see those comments. Mango, what do you got? Top 3 pitchers. I know you ranked them below 8K, but bring in the 10K as well. Top 3 pitchers.
Yeah, for the whole slate, it's probably Steele number 1. It probably goes Steele, Rogers, and Cobb. If we're not like talking any ownership or anything like that, so I'd say Steele, Cobb, Rogers. The pitcher that I would say is like my favorite pitcher that no one's playing or might be sneaky is Martin Perez. That's the one that I'll put as like the lower owned sneaky option. DC,
what you got for us?
Just reading chat now. We got Holden chiming in.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's making me laugh. It's got a smile on my face this morning.
Yeah, Holden probably prefer we talk about his sex dungeons or some shit like that. Yeah, what's the question?
Top 3 pitchers. Justin Steele. Give me 2 others. Price does not matter.
Yeah, I'll go Steele.
Obviously it matters, but you know what I'm saying.
Steele, Cobb, and Oviedo, I think is who I'm rolling with today.
Steele, Cobb, Oviedo. Absolutely love it. Go collect in chat. Said about 250 watch and only 50 likes. Yeah, 280 now, 72 likes. It's hurtful, no doubt about it. It is a little hurtful. We appreciate it if you do hit that like button. When you do hit that like button, big red subscribe button as well. And yeah, DC is making me laugh this morning. You absolutely love to see that. We got 8 games on this slate, though. Talked about it. Coors Field is on the slate, 11 total there. Then the Cardinals. The Cardinals will get a lot of ownership against Mad Bum. Over 6 total for them. And weather is nice in St. Louis. So that's where people are going to go for bats. We're going to go game by game, though, starting with the first game of the day. Actually, not the first game of the day. The first game on the slate, there is an earlier game that has showdown and stuff. But Cleveland Guardians, Detroit Tigers, Cal Quantrill, Spencer Turnbull on the mound. We have an 8 total DC. Don't see much ownership going to this game. Only 50 degrees in Detroit. Looks like a pretty easy fade to me. What do you see?
Yeah, pass on this game. 2 mediocre pitchers, but, Detroit, really tough park for offense. 50 degrees. Yeah, I just don't see much here. Big slate, a lot of offenses to target, obviously, with all the, kind of shitty pitchers on this slate. So I'm going to cross this one off, move on to the next one.
Mangone.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't mention your boy Akil Baddoo. You definitely mentioned him here and there.
He's not even in the lineup. Oh, yeah, he is. He's in the 5-hole. My bad.
He's in the 5-hole.
You can have
usually I'm used to him either.
I don't want him. He's definitely one that, everyone has like their pet players, right? I feel like he's one that you like a lot, so I don't know. But I don't see myself playing anyone really from this game unless it's like maybe like a Guardians one-off I could see, but I do not see them as like a stack for me at all. Like, again, this is not a crazy game that I'm dying to get to. And I know I get different with some of my pitchers. It's definitely like we'll get to the Cardinals. Like I'm not fading that chalk today. I'll find a way to make that different for sure.
Yeah, I don't need to get to that game at 50. I'm used to seeing Baddoo either in the 1-hole or like the 9-hole. I don't see him in the 5-hole very often. But yes, he is in there. Kerry Carpenter, another good player. Just, man, 8-game slate. You can X off games. I think that's a pretty easy one to do. So let's get to the next game on the slate. San Francisco Giants, Miami Marlins, Alex Cobb, Trevor Rogers on the mound. DC, I'll go to you because you mentioned some of these Giants against a chalkier Trevor Rogers. Slates like this, when we get concentrated pitching because there just aren't good arms on the mound, is when I think you can pick on these popular guys. Like, I'm not picking on DeGrom on an 8-game slate. Even if he is 85% owned, I can just go to another offense and get different that way. Playing some of these Giants, I think, makes sense. Kind of reminds me of like a couple weeks ago. Lance Lynn was one of the most popular pitchers, and these Giants got to him on an early slate. Are you playing the Giants? Are you playing the Marlins?
I think the Giants are probably better for one-offs. I was kind of looking at maybe a potential contrarian stack against what we think will be one of, if not the most popular pitchers on the slate against Trevor Rogers. But, really, you're just hoping for the right-handed power, right, to hit a home run or two. So I think it's better to just pick off the one-off. J.D. Davis, the guy in particular that I think's got the best chance to take Trevor Rogers deep. So I do like that one. If I'm not going to go to the full stack here, especially if I'm, getting contrarian, it sounds like a little bit at pitcher anyway. Don't need to do it with the bats. So, yeah, J.D. Davis, my favorite Giant. VR, Ruff. I mean, all these guys, I think, have a chance to do some damage against Trevor Rogers. That's kind of the reason I'm not on Rogers himself. I like this matchup a little bit for some of this right-handed power from the Giants. And then, yeah, I like Cobb some, so not going to the Marlins. Kind of like the previous game. These are two of maybe the two worst games for offense on the whole slate, I think, these first two games. So not doing a lot here offensively. The Giants' right-handed power would be the one place I would consider.
Yeah, if you don't have bats in either of these first two games, I think you're fine. My favorite out of the four teams, though, would be the Giants, and that's just the game theory pick on one of the most popular pitchers, get guaranteed ninth inning at bats. So that's how I'd go. But Mangone, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is an 8 total, and we have an 8.5 that we just passed on. Like, I don't see myself getting to this game. I think it's just going to be a cross-off for me, unless it's like a Giants one-off. I know they have a lot of power and pop, so if a Giants one-off falls into my lineup, sure, like a J.D. Davis, like it was mentioned against a lefty, I'm not gonna like just X him out of my pool. If I land on Joey Bart as a catcher as a full punt, am I gonna blow up everything? No, but overall, this is not a game I'm loving.
See, if you like this next game, again, 300 watching, a little under 100 likes. We appreciate if you do get that like button. Want to get you the plays of the day today. This next game, Mangone, I'll go to you first. You said you're not fading this chalk. Arizona Diamondbacks, St. Louis Cardinals, 10.5 total, 80 degrees in St. Louis. Bumgarner, Jake Woodford on the mound. Talk if you're playing any D-backs, and then talk about St. Louis. They're going to be chalky. We already have their lineup out as well. Break it down. How are you stacking this team?
Yeah, before I do that, DC, pour one out. Our boy Yu Chang just got put on the list, the paternity list, so we won't be able to roster him for the next couple days.
Shout out Yu Chang, man. We'll get him back on the team once he's got the new baby boost, right?
The baby boost for Yu Chang. But yeah, this is a great game, right? Obviously, so why do we always get tilted at the Cardinals, right? Like, why are the Cardinals the team that we're always like, man, whenever they're chalk, they bust, and we just get mad at them? Well, one reason why we get mad is because they hit the ball hard, but it's when they hit it, right? I know it sounds simple, but they are really good at swinging and missing. But this is like a what's it called? Just batting practice, right? It's going to be with Madison Bumgarner. I don't think he gets a lot of swing and misses. I think this is a perfect spot for these guys. When their Cardinals are against the lefty, you take notice. I'm sure DC is going to be watching the TV and being like when we were hanging out watching Paul Goldschmidt, will be like, oh, this is a bomb for Goldschmidt, the way Bumgarner's throwing. It feels like a perfect day for these guys. I'm eating this chalk. But the question is, how do we make it different, right? Well, one thing you do is when you kind of build with the optimizer, go in and prioritize and say, give me at least one or maybe even two of Tyler O'Neill, Jordan Walker, Taylor Motter, and I guess you could throw Andrew Kisner in there. It sounds gross, but prioritize making sure you're not just playing the 1 through 5. I mean, if you play the 1 through 5, man, you better play some really crazy pitchers and a different one-off because the Cardinals will be very high owned. I think you could argue they're going to be higher owned than Coors Field today.
I mean,
it's a very high total. Everyone knows that. Yeah. I mean, everyone knows when Bumgarner's on the slate. Like, Bumgarner's kind of like a light version of Patrick Corbin these days, right? I'd say Patrick Corbin's like the guy that we always want to target. Madison Bumgarner's kind of like the light version of it. So
you are saying that Corbin is a little better. No, that Bumgarner is a little better than Corbin. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
though?
Yes, exactly. Like if you had to pick like the gas can, right? It's in the league. It's probably Patrick Corbin, right? Of like the guys that just get hit so hard that we always want to target.
The Dollar Tree version is. I got what you're saying. Just wanted to make sure.
So we want to target this matchup. And again, the Cardinals' problem is sometimes they just swing and miss too much, and I'm not worried about the swing and misses unless DC says that Madison Bumgarner's swing and miss rate is up or something crazy, but I don't think Vegas is telling me that. I don't think I've missed that while watching some NBA playoffs a little bit. So overall, I think this is going to be a great spot for these guys. You want to make sure also, like when you do your Cardinal stacks, right? If you don't see Goldschmidt or Arenado in there, if this thing pops off, one of them is going to pop with it, right? So maybe make sure to prioritize at least one of them or both, right? There's little things that you can do to make your teams different and make sure they're good stacks. Sometimes, like I remember when I was building teams like a couple of weeks ago with the Toronto Blue Jays, and every single team I had was going Brandon Belt instead of Vladimir Guerrero. And I'm like, if I'm playing 5-mans, I want Vladimir Guerrero. I don't want shitty Brandon Belt, who's been absolutely terrible this year. So make sure to actually build good Cardinal stacks. Don't let them build absolutely terrible one for you because sometimes it could do that.
PC, what's your take on that? Like, I assume you're playing the Cardinals. I assume you like the Cardinals, but I mean, they're ordered 1 through 9 today, and not as strong 8 and 9 as usual. But still, I mean, they're very cheap when you do go down there. Like, people are gonna want to play Goldie. People are gonna play Wilson Contreras, stuff like that. Are you fine playing a 5-man stack that wouldn't have a Goldschmidt or Arenado? Would you try and get one of them in there? Assume you're playing the Cardinals. Tell me if I'm wrong, and any D-backs for you.
Yeah, I'm eating the chalk here. I'm playing 5 Cardinals in my main lineup. Just no question about it. Bumgarner, I actually think this is going to be his last start in the major leagues. That's my prediction on Bumgarner today. He's just been getting absolutely shelled this year. The velocity's down. Arizona has a really fun young team. I think they want to compete this year. They've got some good pitching coming up through the minor leagues. And Bumgarner, like, he's got a contract for another couple years, but you got to pay him anyway. You know, why are you sending him out there every 5 days to get blasted and just essentially forfeit a game? It makes no sense. So yeah, I think this could be the last ride for Bumgarner. If it's not today, it's coming soon. I just think they're just going to absolutely crush him. To your question, 1 through 7 Cardinals, I think you can make a case. You could go any direction with those 7 guys. Goldschmidt is going to be in my lineup. He's the best hitter on this team by a decent margin. He's got a monster history against Madison Bumgarner. He's just crushing the ball this year. Hit a home run yesterday. I could fade, Arenado, I think, is a fine fade. I mean, like Tyler O'Neill, Jordan Walker in that 6-7 hole are both cheap and this is just a perfect matchup. And then you got 80 degrees and the wind blowing out to left field, which is where all these guys are going to hit their fly balls off Bumgarner. Anyway, I'll be shocked if they don't hit at least a couple home runs off Bumgarner. Honestly, I think this is the best offensive spot that we've had the entire year so far, including all the games at Coors Field. So yeah, these guys are going to be highly owned, but there's 7 good ones. So that'll spread out ownership at least a little bit among them. People will play the 2 guys, Motter and Knizer, down at the bottom of the order. I'll leave those guys off. People will definitely go to that value, but give me 1 through 7. Really, any 5 of them I think is a good way to go. I'll probably stack them up a few different ways, honestly, and hope it hits. I think it will. So yeah, give me all the Cardinals. Other side's interesting too. I mean, Woodford, not a particularly good pitcher. We know the Diamondbacks can do some damage, and when they go off, it's like really fantasy friendly, right? Power, speed. It's a fun team in general. And they also get to hit in this awesome weather. Cardinals bullpen, not very good outside of the very back end of it, which they might not face if they put up a bunch of runs. So I think this game could potentially go way over this 10.5 total. Definitely like the Cardinals side better, but if you want to get, a little bit sneaky, don't forget the D-back side, Corbin Carroll, the feature player in that lineup. Just huge fantasy upside each and every time he's in the lineup. So yeah, absolutely love this game for offense.
I like it. I got a general question. I'm not sure you even know the answer to it. I don't, because down here I said guy in the 9 hole. Is it Andrew Knizer or is the N silent? And is it Kisner? I want to say it's Kisner. It just sounds more right, but I don't know if the end. Do you know? Do you know the answer for sure? Gotcha. You watch a lot of baseball. I don't know.
I'll let you know. Yeah, I'll be watching this game and I'll pay close attention to how they pronounce his last name. So I'll fill you in next time.
I'm gonna go with Kisner, and it's easier to say that the end silent. But yes, thank you. I'm curious on that one. But yeah, I think the Cardinals interesting. Someone mentioned game stack 2. No one's gonna be N is silent. Okay, that's what I thought. AQ. It makes a lot of sense. They're definitely gonna be low owner these D-backs and great hitting weather, 80 degrees. Diamondbacks like to run if they get guys on base. We talked about it yesterday with JT. Force them to make other teams to make mistakes. And yeah, I could definitely see a game stack going somewhere in this one. But Cardinals will be mega chalk. Pittsburgh and Cardinals is how I see it. Not as many will go to the Rockies. Still some people will though. But that's Diamondbacks. That's the Cardinals. We'll keep it rolling. We got 6 games left on the slate? Something like that. Maybe even 7. Appreciate it if you do hit the like button for us. Philadelphia Phillies, Chicago White Sox, 8.5 total. Taijuan Walker, Mike Clevenger on the mound. Mangone, I'll go to you first in this one. Only 60 degrees. Not great hitting weather. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Clevenger is a guy who has not been that good this year. The wind is blowing in, so that's obviously not super encouraging, but they have some really good bats that can hit the ball out, right? I mean, you got Trey Turner at shortstop, you have that money, and again, we might have a lot of money today, so I think he makes sense. Stott at 3.8K at that tough second base position. You could certainly put him in there in the one hole and could have the chance to get the 5 at bats. So that's always encouraging. Castellanos, Schwarber. I mean, they have enough options where I think they have upside. And even a former Twin that I know DC like, Jake Cave, he's in there too, and he's got power and pop. So I think there's opportunities for that Phillies mini stack to really take off. But again, with the weather, I don't know if I want a 5-man. I think that's one of the concerns that I just have is I don't know if this game can pop completely. I think there are some winning scores that you can get here with some of these bats, but I just don't see it as a 5-man. I think it's going to be more of a mini stack for me here with this Phillies team. And then Taijuan Walker isn't someone that I'm dying to play, so I should have some interest in these bats. You got Benintendi in that one hole at 4K. He's obviously a pretty good option here. The one thing I struggle with the White Sox is, like, again, kind of like that bottom of the order is just kind of ugly, right? Oscar Colas, Sosa, Elvis Andrews, like, it's just not that great. Jake Berger, you typically want against the lefty rather than the righty. So I don't know how much I'm going to get to the White Sox. They kind of feel like a mini stack too as well, because they do have some really good power bats, and this game will be a bit lower owned. It's not the worst run total. It's still 8.5, and there's enough power bats where in DFS, home runs are way more important than like an RBI single, right? So, and even though they're each worth like 1 run, being able to put power bats in your lineup can be important at times. It could be the difference between cashing and not. So I do think there's enough power bats here where I like them as mini stacks or one-offs.
Are you still a White Sox fan, Mangone? I know it's been like 2 years ago now. You kept playing them every single day. It feels like they had a lefty every day.
I jumped off them a little last year for sure. Enough at the right time. They're just always hurt, man. It's just not fun. It feels like there's always an injury. And I mean, I think they got hurt again, or at least someone did. So it's not the same team, but I'm hopefully maybe in the summer they can heat back up. The wind will be blowing out. Maybe everyone's off and we can run it back.
I like it. Yeah, Willie, you're right. It is a 10-game slate. I kept saying 8 games. I thought it was 8. Then I kept scrolling. I was like, yeah, we have more games than I thought we had to talk about. So 10-game slate, not an 8-game slate. And saying that makes me even have less interest in this game, DC. Tell me if I'm wrong, but man, the weather's not great. 2 okay pitchers. Are they going to beat the Cardinals? Are they going to beat Coors? Are they going to beat some of these other teams? Tell me if you think so.
No, I don't think so. I'm with Mangone. There is a lot of power in both these lineups, so good spot to pick off a one-off. Kyle Schwarber, Brandon Marsh has been playing well. Luis Robert would probably be the 3 players I'd be most likely to roster, but those guys are all expensive. And, if you're trying to get in Goldschmidt and Arenado and some decent pitching, it's just hard to get to them. So kind of got to go to value. At least that's how I'm going to build my lineups outside of the Cardinals, which I don't love the cheap guys here. Oscar Colas, I think Mangone mentioned him, is a decent play down there, 2,400, but not great hitting conditions here. And there are obviously a few really, really good spots. So I'm kind of with you, Title. Mostly a fade on this game for me.
You like Oscar Colas in the 7 hole. We got our guy Bryce. He's saying daytime burger kind of day. Burger right there in the 6 hole. You got yourself a little mini stack right there. But other than that, not much interest in this game. Keeping it rolling. Texas Rangers, Kansas City Royals, Martin Perez, Brady Singer on the mound. 9.5 total, about 75 in Kansas City. So one of the better hitting weathers on the slate. DC, right back to you. Going anyone on the Royals, going to anybody on the Rangers.
Yeah, kind of like the power in this game too. Basically the same weather as St. Louis, where warm, humid, wind blowing out. Those are the 3 things that you really want for a hitting environment. It is a bigger park in general, but it's not going to play like one today, I don't think. If you can get it up in the air, out to left field especially, got a good chance to go deep. There is power on both these teams. I think I like the Royals side a little bit better. Bobby Witt, Edward Olivares, 3,100 in the 2 hole, I think is a really good value option. Salvador Perez, of course. Franmil Reyes, like he's a big swing and miss guy, but Martin Perez doesn't miss many bats. So this looks like a particularly good spot for Reyes. Hunter Dozier down there at 2,200, I think is a good option if you're trying to get, at that price, even though he's hitting 8th, it just takes one swing to kind of come through. So I do like him as a cheap option. Yeah, I think this game does have good Value options, I know people talking about playing Martin Perez. I get that, but he does give up a lot of fly balls to right-handed bats in particular, and this is just not a good environment for that. He's already at 1.7 home runs per 9 on the year, so kind of favor the Royals' power here is my favorite plays in this game. But if I think I was going to stack, it would be against Brady Singer, but trying to pick off home runs, I do prefer the Royals side of it a little bit. But yeah, I think there's going to be offense in this game for sure.
I like it. Yeah. Our guy, Uncle T in chat saying Bobby Witt and Reyes for me. Definitely like myself some Bobby Witt and playing a good amount of him. Mangone, Rangers, Royals. Feels like outside of St. Louis, we really haven't had too many games we like too much. Is this a game or at least one side of a game that you do like to stack up?
Yeah, I definitely like I like Singer and Perez, I think, more than DC. Maybe I'm discounting the weather a little too much, but I just don't feel like I want to pick on them. One-offs are fine, right? Like Bobby Witt Jr., right? He's going to be someone that projects well in the one hole. I mean, yeah, I'll take a one-off here and there. Like I'll never argue with like a Salvador Perez as a one-off, certainly fine, but I think that's it. And if it's anything, it's maybe like those guys just as one-offs just because of the positions. Like shortstop sometimes isn't the greatest position. Same with catcher. But I'm kind of out on this game. It's not really one I'm that excited about.
Coors Field, man, coming to your home. Pittsburgh Pirates, Colorado Rockies, Oviedo, Austin Gomber on the mound. Talking about weather, it is not good weather in Colorado. DC mentioned that at the top, but like about 55 degrees. Looks like wind's blowing in a little bit. Maybe you guys get a little wet in Chicago or in Colorado. The game should play. It's still a pretty high total, but DC has some interest in the Pitt guy. Gomber, on the other hand, Pittsburgh's going to be popular. They'll definitely get more ownership than Colorado. You go into this game, going a little Coors Field action, man. Go.
Yeah, let's start off with this. It's a Connor Joe revenge game. Well, let's start there.
Well, he's had a couple at least during the series, but yes, it is.
Yeah, he hasn't been bad so far, but yeah, it's not a game I typically am just going to go with the rule of, for the most part, like just get rid of Coors Field for me. I'm not doing 5-mans. I'll do mini stacks. I'm fine with that.
Let's say though, I say like today, like Colorado, they're not going to be contrarian by any means, but they are. Like I know DC's liking Pitt a little bit, but just a game theory wise, I like Coors Field. Like they're not going to get the ownership that Pitt and St. Louis are getting by any means.
No, you're definitely right. And
the lineup's trash. Andrew Martinez just said that is part of the reason they are not going to get.
They just came out with their lineup, so it's Profar in the 1 hole, Blackman, Bryant, Ryan McMahon, Mike Moustakas in the 5 hole, Alan Trejo, Harold Castro, Tovar, and then Brian Servin, and like that guy's.
What are you doing this afternoon, man? Maybe we should get some cheap tickets to this game and go watch our guy Johan Oviedo shove on the Rockies and ship some tournaments.
Yeah, some 5-man Pirate stacks with Oviedo. That might be something.
I'm not playing Coors a minute later. 5-man Pirates, let's go.
But well, I'm going to the game, of course. You can't go to a game and not have a stack. I'll say that. But yeah, I definitely don't want to play that much of Coors. I like them like minis, and sure, I think I'm just going to shove pretty hard on the Cardinals today as my 5-man stack, and then mix and match from there.
Yeah.
And then set some rules in to kind of make sure they're a little bit different, and then get different with my pitchers. Yeah, I understand it sounds boring and lame, but you got to make some cuts somewhere. And I think cutting out this game as a 5-man will help me out with that for sure. So I think I'm going to cut this game out in 5-man stacks and mainly minis. There's definitely an offense that we'll get to later that I still like and want to take some chances on. But overall, I'm not excited about Coors as much. I'm curious to see what DC says about the Pirates side, because the Pirates do have some good bats, right? Like Gomber's a lefty. There's some good righties you can take advantage of. If you got like Brian Hayes at the top at 4.2K, that's cheap. Andrew McCutchen at 5.2. Brian Reynolds. I think that 1 through 3 is going to be great. Connor Joe is a cheap option. If he's in there, don't think he's too bad. So there's definitely options on this team that I don't want to completely ignore on the Pirates side.
Yeah, DC, now that you saw this Rockies lineup, do you like Oviedo even more now? Or are you going to be picking on Gomber? I think you like St. Louis more than Pitt is how it sounds. So do you see yourself getting into too much Pitt? Break down this one.
I mean, I do like Pitt too. They are my second favorite offense overall in the slate, but I like St. Louis way, way more, or just way more confidence that they're going to go off. And I also think, I think if both teams score 10 runs, I think the Cardinals side is still going to be the side that you want, because I think it's going to be more power than the Pirates have. I think Pirates path to that is, a lot more singles, kind of get the lineup turned over 4 or 5 times. Whereas I think St. Louis, you could have 3 home runs in the first inning. I don't think something like that's going to happen for Pittsburgh, especially given that it's, not the greatest hitting conditions in Coors Field. So I do like the Pirates. I think if I was going there, it would be kind of the full stack. McCutchen looks good this year. That Hayes, Reynolds, McCutchen top 3, I think is a good way to go. Connor Joe, if you want to go there, but I don't like either side of this game, obviously, very nearly as much as I like the Cardinals. So I probably won't end up on a ton here. Seeing that Rockies lineup, probably going to take the chance on old Johan Oviedo today. Maybe you'll see me behind home plate cheering on the Oviedo strikeouts, sitting in the rain in Coors Field on a Wednesday afternoon. Sounds like a good bet.
Chirping the ump on balls and strikes.
No one's going to be at this game, so he'll be able to hear it loud and clear.
I know one person going to this game, DC. Actually, so someone actually has tickets and is going. So there you go. I know one person will be in the crowd.
Two people. DC will be the second. Did you ever end up saying ban chick fights at the 5 minute mark or 4 minute mark?
Yeah, I screamed it at the top of my lungs. I thought it's like pretty quiet in there. I thought people would be able to hear it, but no, I did. The people sitting next to me in the suite that I didn't know, they were like, "This guy's saying the quiet part out loud." I was like, "Yeah, he knows what's up."
Yeah, no, I didn't. One of my buddies I was next to, he saw your tweet. He goes, "Oh, DC's doing it in 30 seconds." So all got ready. But there was a takedown like a couple seconds after the 4 minute mark, and then cheering happened.
I waited till it was like a super quiet moment, but I guess it didn't get through.
Yeah, no, I didn't pick it up, but that is a funny one. But yeah, go to Coors Field, chirp the ump, and if you're playing Cardinals, like a low-owned Oviedo makes sense and getting different and going that way. So love to see that. We got 4 games left on this slate, 125 likes. Let's get 175, not even 200. Want to get you the plays of the day. 175, 4 games left. I'm not sure how long it'll take to talk about all 4 of these games, though. Not too many big totals. The New York Mets, Los Angeles Dodgers, Scherzer, Noah Syndergaard on the mound, 8.5 total in LA. Decent weather, 70 degrees. DC, I'll go to you because some people in chat were talking about Syndergaard when we were already going game by game of bats. We didn't talk about him at all pitching. Thoughts on him? Are you fading this game for bats? What do you got?
Yeah, I don't think Syndergaard's the craziest play at 6,500. I mean, I'm playing a Coors Field pitcher, so it's not, not any crazier than that. And he did look good in his last start. Saw someone mention his velocity is up. That's not really true. He's kind of throwing around 92. But yeah, he did look okay there. I could see playing him at 6,500. I could also definitely see stacking the Mets. No one's been hotter than Pete Alonso. And then you've got the 3 at the top of the lineup, Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, assuming they're all in there. They're all good hitters with speed as well. Syndergaard's already given up 6 stolen bases on the year, gave up like 30 last year. I mean, the Mets are going to run on this guy. Those 3 guys at the top, specifically Marte and Lindor, I think are almost certainly going to steal second and maybe third on Syndergaard if they get a chance. And they're good enough hitters to get on base anyway, right? So I do like this Mets stack. I think they've got a chance to really rack up fantasy points. They'll be low owned, I think, against Syndergaard. And yeah, pretty good hitting weather. Maybe get into the bullpen early because it can really go south for Syndergaard if you get people on base, and he's got he just has no chance, especially with the new rules, to control the running game. So I think it is a high upside stack if you want to go to it. And then, yeah, Scherzer obviously in play as a pitcher. I mean, if you had to, I think it's close between him and Steele for raw fantasy points today. I think I might take Steele even over Scherzer, but definitely a fine play. The strikeout upside is obviously pretty big. I just don't love this particular matchup for him with the Dodgers. And if you wanted to play a Freddie Freeman, a Max Muncy, Scherzer does give up his fair share of home runs to lefty power for sure. He always has, and he's not quite as dominant as he once was. So, yeah, those guys in particular, I think, have a pretty decent chance to go deep off of Scherzer. Will be obviously super low owned. So some interesting plays there.
Yeah, I wish Scherzer was like 9.5K instead of 10.8, yeah. So he'd be so chalky. And then I think the Dodgers would make a lot of sense today. It's just getting all the leverage off of that way. Because Scherzer's not going to get all that ownership, I'm not sure the Dodgers, you really need it. But yeah, he, like you said, he definitely can let up some power. think I just would rather go San Fran against a more popular pitcher, just the game theory wise that way against Rodgers. But yeah, Scherzer's definitely not in his prime anymore. There's no doubt about that. Mangone, what do you got for bets?
Yeah, I like the Mets side. Obviously, there's the stolen base upside against Syndergaard. I know Syndergaard, some of these guys, they go to the Dodgers, like we saw Tyler Anderson, and get better. And I think I've seen like Noah Syndergaard is improving a little bit. But overall, I think I'm going to end up playing some Mets here. Like Ms. Minis, and I think 5-man's definitely in play too with Pete Alonso and all those speed guys. I definitely want to get some Mets exposure. Not saying they're going to be like, a team I just push all in on as like a 5-man, but I want to have exposure to it. I want to make sure I have some Mets stacks for sure today.
I will say, yeah, if you're playing those speed guys, like I think I would include Alonso because they hit right in front of him, right? And so if those guys are going off, that means there's probably guys on first and third or second and third, which that's the hardest time to pitch in general. And you would want obviously Alonso to kind of to finish the job there, right? So I do think the full stack makes sense if you're going to it.
I like it. And there's enough cheap pitchers that you can make an expensive Mets stack work. Very contrarian on this slate. Guaranteed 9th inning at bat, which I always love as well. 3 games left. Chicago Cubs, Oakland Athletics, Justin Steele, Mason Miller on the mound. We have a 7.5 total, 60 degrees only. I'll go to DC first because I think it'll be a quick fade.
Yep. I talked a little bit about Mason Miller. Big expectations for him. So far in the minor leagues, 8.2 innings pitched and 19 strikeouts to 0 walks, 100-mile-per-hour fastball, good breaking balls. I've been talking a lot about how bad the Oakland bullpen is, and that certainly remains true. I'm going to be picking on them a lot this year, but not today. I think Mason Miller can do enough to slow this offense down. So yeah, pretty much a fade here. Obviously, like Justin Steele as a pitcher, not going to any A's bats either. So pretty much just Justin Steele and then kind of fading the rest of this game.
Mangone.
Yeah, I'm not interested in this game. It's just, and I said earlier, Justin Steele was in, where Wrigley. It's in Oakland, so want to call that out. So really no interest in this game. So yeah, overall, just not going to play it. 7.5 total. It's the worst total on the slate. Like, what am I doing?
What are you doing in this next game, man? Going Atlanta Braves, San Diego Padres, Charlie Morton, Nick Martinez on the mound, 64 degrees in San Diego. I'll say I like these Braves. I mean, we're going through all these teams, 10-game slate, but man, ownership's concentrated on a few teams and hitting weather isn't great in others. I don't love other spots. I think outside of Coors in the Cardinals, I think the Braves are probably my favorite. As Mike says, title appeals to guaranteed 9th inning at bats. Braves fit that mold. Nothing worse than your team's up 5-4, and they're the home team. They don't get that 9th inning at bat, and your dude's due up next. I like that extra at bat. Braves fit that mold. Don't think Nick Martinez is great, and I don't see much ownership going to the Braves. So sound like Gary. It's not a popular Braves team, at least, though. They'll be pretty low owned. Are you on the Braves with me, Mangone?
Yeah, that's when I get excited about the Braves, when they're low owned. I don't want them when they're chalk, so I'll fade them in those spots. But at low ownership, I'm interested in this Braves team. So I'd say they're probably going to be on my top 3 list of stacks that I like today. As we go to stacks, they'll definitely be on there. I'm interested in the Braves. They're going to be a good team to get exposure to. So how should we stack them up? We don't have the lineup yet, but there are some good guys towards the bottom of the lineup, right? Grissom is one of them. Albies, he's projected to be down low there. And then the outfielders, you got Rosario, I see projected. I see Pilar, Hilliard. It's obviously not a great group of outfielders, which maybe that makes it better for like a contrarian one-off that you can throw in the outfield rather than waste your spot on that. I don't know if they're pinch hit risks either. Maybe DC has a take on that can help with some of those outfielders because, again, it's not a loaded outfield lineup that they got there besides Acuna, who's obviously a really good option. But I definitely want to prioritize making sure to get some of these guys at the top, then mix in some of the bottom of the order guys.
I like it. 35 more likes we need. DC will break down this game. We have 1 game left after. Again, not sure how many bats will like. So 35 more likes. We appreciate it if you do get it done for us. DC, can you jump on the team I like, the team that's on your head? You going to get to them? Or are you going to get to anyone else on the other side?
Yeah. On the Braves a lot, obviously, so far this year. They've been on fire all season long. I don't think Nick Martinez is going to be the one to slow him down here. Doesn't miss many bats. And when you allow this Braves team to put the ball in play, good things are going to happen for them more often than not. Was on them last night against Snell. They got the job done in that one for the most part, and I think they'll keep it going here. So, yeah, I definitely like the Braves side. Morton against the Padres, kind of just fading both sides of that. I think Morton will be good enough here to, slow down the Padres where you don't really want too many of them. Juan Soto hasn't looked super great, but I don't love this matchup for Morton himself either. So pretty much just the Braves bats here is what I'm looking at.
Against what? The Team USA ace and Nick Martinez. That's who we're stacking up again on this 10-game slate. Yeah, that's a pretty crazy thing to say. Team USA ace Nick Martinez. But we'll keep it rolling. That's on another note. Last game of the night. Last game of the slate, the day slate. There is some night baseball tonight as well. Milwaukee Brewers, Seattle Mariners, Eric Lauer, Marco Gonzalez, 8.5 total. DC talked a little bit about Lauer, talked a little bit about Marco Gonzalez. You going to play any bets in this one, though?
I don't love this game either. Obviously not the best hitting environment in Seattle. I think it would be the Seattle side that I like a little bit better. Marco Gonzalez has actually been pretty good in Seattle over the course of the last few years. Not great for fantasy, obviously, but just pretty good at run prevention, which kind of has me lower on the Brewers. I don't really want to play an 8,100 Marco Gonzalez, but I don't think the Brewers are going to crush here or anything. I think Seattle could, right? They've got all those good right-handed hitters. I mean, Julio, obviously, but also France, Suarez, Teoscar. They can do some serious damage to left-handed pitching, and Lauer's not a bad pitcher at all, but he is susceptible to the home run ball from right-handed power. So that would be where I would go. But again, my confidence level in the Cardinals is just so high that pretty much every other team is just, kind of mixing and matching, trying to find value, trying to get different. So I guess I could do that with some of these Seattle bats, but it'll mostly be cheap guys that I do that with. So yeah, kind of lukewarm on this game overall.
Yeah, I mean, especially Cardinals are going to be very chalky. You like them so much. I mean, going 100% on a slate like this and then just mixing in lower-owned pitchers, lower-owned secondary stacks, I think that makes sense. And there's not too many appealing teams on this slate. So it sounds like a good strategy to me. Mangone, you're up. We need 30 more or 22 more likes for the plays of the day. I'm not sure how long you're going to talk about it, but hopefully the people get us home. What you like in this game?
Yeah, not too long. We do have our stacks we'll have to mention too, so that'll buy them a little bit of time. But just figure it out now, okay? Find your mouse, go hit the like. It's very simple, so we can give out the plays. But I think overall Seattle, they're definitely in the conversation. I'm not going to completely ignore them. I would like to see the lineup. Sometimes you can get some watered down lineups for some of these teams, but I do think overall Julio Rodriguez, good option to plug in there. Ty France, Suarez, Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, this 1 through 4 is stacked. Donate Pollock. I mean, a Tom Murphy, a catcher for cheap. Would not hate throwing him in there. Overall, this is a really solid Seattle lineup that people might sleep on a little bit this year. And I like them for sure as minis, more so. Not as much as like the 5-man, because I just don't know if it's going to pop as much. But I do think Seattle is a stack that's in the conversation for me. They're more of like a last stack in. They're not going to be in my top 3 stacks when we talk about that. But I definitely like them.
I like it. We'll go to the stacks. Hopefully then after get you the plays of the day. I'll say the Braves. I'm going to take out the Cardinals. It sounds like Cardinals are the top stack for all 3 of us, or the top stack for everyone, but all 3 of us as well. So outside the Cardinals top 3, I'm just going to say the Braves though. Man, give me 3.
Yeah, well, I was going to have the Cardinals in there, so that might, we'll see. I know for sure I'm going to go, Cardinals are number 1, but if we take them off the list, I'd probably say Braves are number 1 for me. I'd say Mets number 2. And then, I said they weren't going to make the list because I thought Cardinals would be in there, but I'm going to go with Seattle number 3. I think they're definitely a nice little stack that you can get some exposure to.
I like it. I'll give one more, and that's the contrarian, the game theory. Pick on Trevor Rogers, one of the most popular pitchers, and get to the Giants as well. So those are my 2. DC, top 3, no Cardinals.
Yeah, well, I'm playing maximum Cardinals on any and all teams that I make. So I'm literally not stacking any other teams because I can't. But if I was, the Mets run wild maybe on Syndergaard. Pirates, I like them against Gomber, and then the Braves as well.
I like it. Looking at the likes, 169. You guys are going to get it for us while we get the plays of the day. I know I'm being soft today. You guys will get to 170. I'll get you the plays of the day right now, though. I'll start with myself first with the SO play of the day. Going to the Braves. We do not have the lineup out yet. I didn't want to go to like a Matt Olson or a Cunha or something. I'll go to a little salary relief. I think Eddie Rosario will be in there against the righty, probably somewhere near the heart of the order. So 2.5K, Eddie Rosario is the SO play of the day. Ping pong play of the day, and unfortunately, that's not the guy on the bottom. That's the guy on the top left. Mangone, the ping pong goat, made me some cheese as well. I appreciate you, Mangone. Sorry, DC, for rubbing it in every time Mangone's on the show, but ping pong play of the day, Mangone, get us a winner.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Brave as well title. I'm not going to save you salary. I'm going to go with Ozzie Albies at the second base position. Never a fun position to roster, in my opinion. But 4.7K, he's been hitting the ball really well as of late, too. So let's ride the train. Let's go with Ozzie Albies at 4.7K as my play of the day.
Love to see that, Mangone. DC, mom's basement play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, I need some salary savings with all those expensive Cardinals. So we're going down to the bottom of the Royals lineup. Hunter Dozier hitting 8th today, but he does get the lefty Martin Perez. Wind blowing out to left field in Kansas City. I think he gets into one against old Martin and gets a home run on the board. So Hunter Dozier, mom's basement play of the day.
Hunter Dozier, Ozzie Albies, Eddie Rosario, the 3 plays of the day. Fun 10-game slate. Always fun early baseball is. NBA playoffs is tonight. We also have baseball tonight, too. A little nice night slate on DK. A lot of money to be made. All the content will be up at Run Pier Sports. Use the promo code Mangone15. Get you 15% off. Core plays going up. Playbook, cash chart, all of that up as well. Looking to see some RPS logos up top. We'll see you tomorrow, as always. For Mangone, DC, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.